My name is Sarah, I'm 31, and I spent 5 years being the invisible glue holding my entire family together. But on Labor Day weekend, while I sat alone in a quiet house, my phone buzzed with a social media notification that shattered my world forever. My sister had just posted a family vacation photo, a sun-drenched beach, my parents smiling wide, and a caption that read, "Best trip ever without her." They didn't forget me. They intentionally left me behind while using the money I had saved for our joint family fund to pay for their luxury resort. But they made one massive mistake. They forgot that I was the one who managed the family business accounts, the deeds, and the properties. Sitting alone in that dark living room, I didn't cry. I pulled out my laptop, opened our shared assets, and started executing a plan that would change everything. My name is Sarah, and at 31 years old, I had spent my entire adult life being the reliable, quiet daughter who kept our family grounded. While my younger sister, Chloe, was showered with praise for simply showing up, I was the one who quietly handled the background noise, managing schedules, running errands, and keeping everything afloat. Labor Day morning was eerie. The house was dead quiet. I walked downstairs expecting to see my parents drinking coffee on the patio, but the driveway was empty. No note, no text, no heads up. I assumed they had just run out for breakfast until I opened Instagram. There it was. A photo of my parents and Chloe standing on a private balcony overlooking a crystal blue beach in Florida. Chloe's caption hit like a physical punch. Asterisk best trip ever, without her. Hashtag family goals, hashtag Labor Day gateway. Asterisk. My stomach dropped. This wasn't a last-minute oversight or a forgotten invitation. They had booked a luxury beachfront getaway months in advance, carefully packed their bags while I was out the night before, and deliberately left me behind in an empty house, chuckling at their own cruel joke. Sitting at the kitchen table, the silence of the empty house felt suffocating. For 5 years, I'd sacrificed my personal life, put my accounting career on hold, and poured every drop of energy into running our family's rental property business. While Chloe spent her weekends traveling and posting about her lifestyle, I was managing tenant complaints, handling maintenance, and keeping our books balanced, all without taking a formal salary because it was for the family's collective future. Driven by a sudden, sinking feeling, I logged into our joint primary business account. My jaw tightened as I scrolled through the recent transactions. A $4,200 charge at a 5-star resort in Destin. A $1,200 car rental. Thousands of dollars spent on fine dining and luxury shopping. They hadn't just excluded me from the trip. They had used the business funds generated directly from my unpaid labor and hard-earned savings, to pay for every single penny of their lavish vacation. I looked at the numbers glowing on the screen, feeling a cold, sharp realization wash over me. I had treated them like my family, but to them, I was just unpaid help who funded their fun. I didn't scream, and I didn't shed a single tear. The hurt transformed into a cold, focused clarity. Instead of making an angry phone call that they could laugh off, I stood up and walked down the hallway into my father's home office. The door was unlocked, just as it always was. I began sifting through the filing cabinets where the legal documents for the family rental properties were kept. What I found inside made my blood run cold. Hidden behind routine tax forms was a draft for a brand new trust agreement dated just 2 weeks prior. My parents were quietly preparing to restructure the entire business, transferring 80% of the property ownership directly into Chloe's name upon their retirement, while assigning me a mere advisory role with zero equity. They were using my expertise to build a real estate portfolio, only to hand the keys over to a daughter who had never worked a single honest day for it. They believed I was too timid to ever check these files, too loyal to ever fight back. But sitting at that mahogany desk, staring at their signatures, I decided that my years of silent obedience were officially over. With the cold truth sitting right in front of me, I opened my laptop and went to work. As the registered financial manager and co-signatory on every single business account, I had full legal access to our financial infrastructure, access my parents had given me years ago because they were too lazy to handle the paperwork themselves. I spent the next 6 hours meticulously gathering evidence. I downloaded 5 years of bank statements, saved records of every unpaid invoice for my property management services, and took high-resolution screenshots of the unauthorized resort charges made using company funds. Next, I called my former law school classmate, David, who specialized in commercial real estate and partnership disputes. After reviewing the documents, David confirmed what I already suspected. Because I was listed as an equal voting partner on the original business charter, my parents could not legally transfer assets or use company funds for personal vacations without my written consent. By doing so, they had committed a clear breach of fiduciary duty. I authorized David to draft formal legal notices revoking their administrative access to the accounts and freezing all discretionary business spending effective immediately. While my family was still lounging by the pool, the ground beneath them was quietly crumbling. Monday evening arrived, and the front door burst open with laughter and loud chatter. My parents and Chloe walked into the living room, sunburnt, holding bags of designer souvenirs, acting like nothing had happened. Chloe tossed her beach bag onto the sofa, looked at me sitting on the armchair, and smirked. "Oh, Sarah, you're still here? You should have seen the beach. It was incredible." "I saw the post," I said calmly, keeping my voice entirely flat. Chloe giggled, shaking her head. "Relax, it was just a joke for my followers. Don't be so dramatic." My father waved his hand dismissively. "We needed a break, Sarah. Someone had to stay behind and make sure the properties were looked after." I didn't argue. Instead, I stood up, picked up a stack of thick manila envelopes from the coffee table, and slid one across the dining table toward each of them. My father frowned, opening his envelope first. As his eyes scanned the legal notices, the audit breakdown, and the bank notification confirming that all joint accounts had been frozen, the color drained completely from his face. "What is this?" my mother gasped, her voice trembling. "It's an official notice of fiduciary breach," I replied quietly. "And your vacation is over." The silence in the room was deafening. My father slammed his fist onto the table, his face turning beet red as he demanded I undo the account freeze immediately. But the illusion of control they held over me was completely gone. I calmly explained that unless they agreed to buy out my full share of the properties based on an independent market appraisal, I would proceed with a formal lawsuit for financial misuse. Within 48 hours, panic set in for my family. Without access to the company accounts, they couldn't pay the upcoming vendor fees or property taxes, and neither my parents nor Chloe had the funds to cover them independently. Chloe tried to launch a smear campaign on social media, accusing me of abandoning the family, but I simply responded by uploading the itemized resort receipts alongside her original "best trip ever" post. Her followers turned on her overnight, calling out her hypocrisy. Realizing they had no legal leverage and zero public sympathy, my parents backed down. They signed an agreement to liquidate 2 of the primary rental properties to pay out my full equity share, bringing a swift, decisive end to our business partnership once and for all. 3 weeks later, I signed the final closing papers, packed my belongings, and walked away from that house for the last time. With my full buyout check deposited safely into my personal account, I purchased a quiet, modern condo near the coast and launched my own independent accounting firm. My parents and Chloe still text occasionally, trying to guilt me into returning or asking for help managing their remaining affairs. But I don't respond. I blocked their numbers, severed every remaining financial tie, and chose my own peace over their dysfunction. Looking out at the ocean from my new balcony on a sunny afternoon, I finally took a deep, clear breath. They thought leaving me behind would make me feel small and isolated. Instead, it forced me to realize my own worth, claim what was rightfully mine, and build a life where I am never left out again.